Hi everyone, I'd like to introduce our group members. King is Wei. Wise Man 1 is Hilary. She is Cassie's daughter. Wise Man 2 is Irina. Servant is Cassie. And I, Shiho, is narrator. Let's start. Act 1, Scene 1, in the royal palace. Once upon a time, there lives a king who rules in Kingdom A. He is brave and loyal to his people and often consults the two wise men of his kingdom when he needs something special. One day, he calls a meeting with both wise men.
You are my wise man. I have something important to discuss with you.
At your service, your majesty.
My service to your majesty.
Do you see this beautiful ring?
Yes, your majesty.
It looks magnificent in my finger, your majesty.
Well, this ring was made specially for me. As you can see, it's beautiful diamonds, rubies, and sapphires. I consider it a treasure, but I want to keep inside it a message that will help me go through the most desperate and difficult moments of my life.
And you want us to give you that message?
Yes, but it has to be a short message.
I understand, your majesty. It has to be short enough to fit inside the ring.
Yes, that's what I want.
Very good. We will work on that right away.
We promise you will have your message tomorrow morning.
I will count on you. When you have it, bring me the good news.
Yes, your majesty.
Scene 2, in the palace library. The two wise men leave the room and immediately meet in the palace library to find the message. They think and think all night.
I can't seem to find something short and wise.
Me neither. There are no short and wise words that fit inside the ring.
We should stop right here. Maybe in our sleep we can come up with a wise message.
I agree. That may be the best thing we can do for now.
I'll meet you here in the Royal Library again tomorrow.
Okay. Good night. See you in the morning.
The two wise men went to sleep. Next morning, they wake up early and continue thinking about the message.
Oh Lord, I couldn't sleep last night, so I went through some more books, but I couldn't find a short message that can fit inside the ring.
Same here. I stayed awake all night. It's tough task we have in our hands. Let's be honest and tell His Majesty.
Oh no, it's not a good idea. How could we tell His Majesty that we have failed?
Then what do you suggest?
Well, we can say we're still working on it, and we ask Your Majesty to give us more time.
Very well. Let's go to the royal palace to see him. Maybe His Majesty is already expecting us.
Scene 3, in the royal palace. The two wise men entered the royal palace, and the king is indeed waiting there for the good news.
My wise man, are you bringing the message for me?
Your Majesty, we worked all night.
But we haven't found short but wise message to fit in the ring.
We need more time, Your Majesty.
How much time do you need?
Honestly, we don't know yet. We will read more books.
We promise we will continue to think hard to find one wise short message.
Very well. Take all the time you need, but as soon as you have it, come to me.
Thank you, Your Majesty.
We will, Your Majesty.
Act 2, Scene 1, in the royal chamber. After the wise man left, the king talked to one of his old servants.
Oh, those wise men aren't of any help. They can't think of a message.
Your Majesty, with all due respect, I am not a wise man, but I have a message that can fit perfectly inside your ring.
What do you mean?
You know I served your father, and now I serve your Majesty.
I knew that. My father appreciated and respected you.
He was very kind and considerate.
Your loyalty is very much appreciated.
My honor, Your Majesty. In my years of service, I've seen many people and heard a lot of things.
You mean you have a message for me to fit in my ring?
Yes, Your Majesty, that's what I'm about to say. Once I met a priest who was a guest here at the palace, and when he left, he gave me this message.
The servant writes the message on a piece of paper. He folds it and gives it to the king.
Thank you.
Please keep it in there to stay with Your Majesty at all times.
The king puts the folded paper with the message inside his ring.
Just remember to open it when everything else has failed, when you can't find a solution to a problem, when you think that everything is over, when there is no hope, and when you feel you are at a dead end.
I will remember what you tell me. Thank you once again.
Now, if you will excuse me, I have to continue with my duties.
Sure, you can go now.
Act 3, Scene 1, on the battlefield. A few months later, the country goes to war. While his soldiers are engaged in a terrible fight, he escapes on one of his horses, but his enemies are chasing him.
I need to get rid of the enemies. When will they stop chasing me?
But his enemies are too many. Suddenly, he reaches a dead end. It was the end of the road. There is no way out. And there he stands on top of a high mountain, looking only at the rocky valley 1,000 feet below, a valley impossible to cross.
Oh my, if I fall, I will die. And if I go back, they will capture me. What am I going to do?
The king can hear the horses approaching. The noises are coming closer and closer. And then he remembers the ring.
Oh yes, the ring. The message inside the ring is my only hope.
He takes off the ring, holds it in one of his hands, unfolds the paper, and reads it aloud.
This too shall pass.
Then everything was in silence. His enemies that were chasing him get lost in the forest. The revelation of the message has a strong effect on him. Then he feels a deep gratitude for his servant and a great peace inside of him. Those words have been magical. He folds the paper once again and puts it back inside the ring.
I feel stronger. I'm the king. I have to go back the fight. My soldiers must be waiting for me.
He goes back, reorganizes his army, and fights back bravely. Finally, he wins the war and returns to his palace triumphantly. Act 4, Scene 1. In the royal palace. The royal palace is in a joyous atmosphere of celebration of winning the big battle. Everyone is there, including the servants and the two wise men. The king is sitting in his throne, attended by his faithful servant.
Ha 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 ha. I'm so proud of myself. I'm one of the bravest and greatest kings.
Your Majesty are brave and wise.
The entire kingdom will bow before your majesty.
Your Majesty are truly invincible.
Your majesty can conquer anything.
True, true, true. Nothing can break me.
Congratulate your majesty on a big victory. I beg your grace to remind your majesty, this is the right moment now. Please now, your majesty, read the message again.
What do you mean? Victory is in my hands. People are celebrating that I'm back. I'm not desperate. I'm not in a dead end.
Your majesty, if you pardon me, this message is not only for those hard situations, it's also for pleasant situations. The message is not only for those moments when you feel desperate and miserable, it's also for those moments when you feel triumphant and glorious.
Okay, you do make me think more deeply.
It's not only for those occasions when you feel that you are the last one, but also for those times when you feel that you are the first one.
Very wise advice. We should always remain level-headed in good and bad situations.
If your majesty can do that, your majesty will always be wise and undefeatable.
Then the king opens the message and reads it out loud again, slowly and emphatically.
This too shall pass.
And once again, he feels the same peace, the same silence, even surrounded by his people who are dancing and celebrating. But now his pride and arrogance have disappeared. Then he speaks again.
Yes, I will always remember that everything is going to pass. Nothing, not even an emotion, is permanent.
Wise people say, like day and night, there are happy and sad moments in our life.
You have to face them and accept them. It's part of human nature.
I will always keep it in my head and in my heart. Nothing remains forever.
Repeat to yourself again and again, you are not the last and you are not the first.
This
These
Two
two
shall
shall
pass.
pass. The end.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching.